Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Time is now 4:30. Roll call, Tina here, Joanne
Here.
Nicole
Here.
Danielle
Here.
and Victor.
Yep.
Please stand and join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to make a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Can I get a second, please?
I'll second.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to 5A, there were 2 minutes of September 17th and August 20th. Can I get a motion to approve those 2 minutes?
Make a motion to approve those minutes.
All right.
I'll
Second.
second.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. Going on to 5B, which is the treasurer's report. Corey, do you have anything you want to add to that?
All documentation has been submitted, all reports received. Happy to answer any questions on any of the reports.
Okay.
I had minor questions, but they were all answered in advance, so.
One,
Okay.
two.
Yep.
Can I get a motion to approve 5B?
I'll make a motion to approve 5B as presented.
Seeking a second.
I'll second.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to 5C, accounts payable. Accounts payables, which includes the check vendor, budget summary, Fund 10 expense, and Fund 10 revenue. Can I get a motion to approve those reports?
Sure. I'll make a motion to approve these items for 5C.
Seeking a second. I'll second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. Moving right along to 5D, personnel hires, resignations, and leaves. I will make a motion to approve the report as presented, or as we have in our folder.
I'll second.
All right. Any, or all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. We moved that along really fast.
All right.
Thanks for getting the answers so quickly.
I was stumbling upon my words, like, what's going on? All right, 6A.
Well, welcome to all our visitors. So we're very excited. We have the girls softball team and their coach here tonight, and we'd like to honor them and
They're just-
congratulate them on an awesome season.
Sorry to interrupt, they're just gathering the rest of them, because some of them are basketball players, so.
Absolutely.
They're coming in, so, and the coaches are
Wow,
coming in
your
too.
work never ends.
Yeah.
So, while we're gathering them, just a few tidbits about the team. They had 6 wins, 1 loss. That was their record, a 4-1 regular season, 4 wins, 1 loss. And they were 2-0 in the playoffs. They lost their first game of the season, but they won the last 6, so way to persevere. Yeah. Great job. In the playoffs, the girls won both the semifinal and the championship games in dramatic fashion with walk-off hits in the bottom of the 7th inning, which is the last inning since softball games are 7 innings, so that's exciting. The team had 8th graders, which is cool since they ended you're ending your middle school career with a conference championship. 1 7th grader and 1 6th grader. And then Coach wanted me to know that the B team also finished their season 3-1 and tied for first place in the B team standings, but there are no playoffs for the B team. But it sounds like you're just going to continue and have a great team moving forward. So again, congratulations.
Yeah.
Is everyone here that's coming, or might we be waiting?
Lily's not here.
Yep, I think so.
You think so? Okay.
And Lily's not here.
So Tina, can I have your help?
Sure.
So we have some certificates for you. So I thought I will read them, and what I'll do is I'll just read first name, last initial, and if you're not here, then we'll give it to your coach, and we'll make sure you get it. Haley A. Liliana B. Bristol C. I love the name.
Good name.
So maybe Jaslyn C isn't here either?
No.
Okay. Molly C? No? Okay. Rylan D? Congratulations, Rylan. Sophia D? How about Isla F?
Most of
here-
these kids are like,
Oh, sorry, here came someone. Angel F? Scarlett G? Vivian G? Taylor G? Lillian H? Ellie H? Cherish H, Mackenzie J, Catherine K, Olivia L, Kamaya M, Alexa P, Abby P, Malaya P, Peyton S, Danica S, Stevie S, Gwyneth T, Emmeline W, Sophia W.
can I grab that's my sister.
You sure can. Yes, you would. And Aria W. How about Coach Jennifer? Congratulations. Congratulations. Thank you for all of your work. Thank you to the
Yeah.
parents for all of
Thank you.
And thank you guys. I know it's hard to get here after school, so we really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And we're excited. So, you know, you deserve all the kudos. So great job. Well done. And you are welcome to stay, but you don't have to. Thank you. Again, well done.
Congratulations.
So while we're on the celebration bandwagon, it is Principal Recognition Month, and I do have Carrie here. Elizabeth could not make it tonight. She had some things going on, but Carrie, if you could come on up. Would just like to recognize you and thank you for all of your And then it's also, last week was School Board Appreciation Week, and the work you do is so important. I know it can be probably very rewarding and might feel sometimes a little thankless, but we do want you to know that we appreciate everything you do, and we appreciate all of your leadership. So we have a little something for each of you, just a token to say thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
Sorry, Nicole. Thank you. Joanne, thank you.
Thank you.
Danielle, thank you.
lady. Thank you.
And Miss Tina, thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you to all of you. All right, continuing on. So just a quick monthly update. We thank you to Jean and Linda and Kim. We pulled it together. We had some pie and we did the third Friday count. So all of these reports are new to some of us and not so new to some other people, but it was a group effort. So just so you have an idea, last year's certified third Friday count was 830 students. This year's non-certified third Friday count is 847 students. And again, in our WISE system, it says 850, so there's, you know, it could change. And then total open enrollment in and total open enrollment out, you can look at last year. Last year, 24-25, we had 185 students open enrolled in. This year, we have 204 students open enrolled in, so a plus of 19 students. In 24-25, we had 52 students open enrolled out, and this year we have 55, so only 3 more out. So that's a good sign. You don't have a lot of people trickling out of the district. So that's a credit to our staff and the work everybody's doing here. The state report card, it is embargoed. We do have it. I think I had mentioned it is trending in the right direction thanks to the work of all the people that are sitting here tonight. And Carrie will be coming back next month and giving a report out on the state report card and our academic achievement data to all of you. And then just an athletic director update, athletics update. Matthew Leyva has resigned as our athletic director. He's going back to graduate school, and Derek Adams is picking up that position. And is, thank you to Matthew, if you're watching, and all of his work. And we're passing the baton on to Derek. So excited about that. Employee engagement survey results. So this is something that I know we've talked about when I first started. These results have been shared with our staff. I shared the results with them our first day back because they hadn't seen them, just like you haven't seen them. These are not every area. We would be here for a couple hours, but I kind of wanted to highlight what I thought were the important ones. They're all important, but the most important, and I also just sort of the areas that we have a school culture and climate team, and we're looking at some of these, like where do we start? We can't start with them all, so what are we going to tackle first? So highlighting those. So employee engagement is a measure of how positive people feel about their work. And in the staff survey that was given in February, 56% of employees, and it's all employees, teachers, support staff, custodial staff, everybody has the opportunity to take this survey. 56% had a favorable rating, 26% were neutral, 18% unfavorable. And I don't think you saw the data from the survey there before, or did you?
We did.
You did, okay.
Yeah.
So the next slide, I'll show you what the results were from the February 2025 survey, and then I'll just show you a slide showing did we go up, did we go down. So that feeling of having a positive feeling sort of went down a little bit. So again, things we're looking at. Enablement. So how do people feel about their workspace? Our physical workspace is enjoyable to work in. So again, favorable. People, you've invested a lot of money on renovations. You've invested a lot of resources in making sure people have technology and quality resources. So favorable, it only went down a little bit, 67% favorable. The other thing that we're looking for is if favorable ratings are in the 70% or more, we're like, that's a good thing. So as much as we want everybody to be favorable all the time, that's probably not reality either, but we're looking for 70% or more. So that one just went down a little bit. I have access to the things I need to do my job well. So again, favorable. People feel like they have access to the things they need, the resources. So again, as the school board, you're making sure, right, you're approving budgets, you're approving monthly purchases, making sure, planning to make sure that teachers and students have the things they need. So again, favorable. No change there. Collaboration and communication. So there is open and honest two-way communication. And this is something that was not necessarily high in the survey the year before, and is something that our climate and culture committee is looking at. So why is it that people feel this way? What's going on, and how do we start improving that? So there was a 39% favorable rating, a 34% neutral rating, and a 27% unfavorable rating. And it was not that much different from the year before. So we've got work to do there. Leadership. Our leadership keep people informed about what is happening. So we had a 40% favorable rating, 31% neutral, and a little over a quarter of, or 29% felt unfavorable. And this was a pretty big decrease from the year before. It went from 58% to 40%. Again, it wasn't like it was 70% the year before, so there was work to do there. But again, going back to that communication. And feel free if you have questions as I'm presenting this.
Well, I'm thinking as you're presenting it, it's 8 months old, this information, and a lot has changed.
It has. In
So-
fairness, it has, right? But I think it's important, it was important, I heard from many people when I did one-on-ones with them, we keep taking the surveys. Nobody ever shares anything with us.
Oh.
And I've heard it from you guys too, right?
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
And I think the other piece about communication is when staff take these surveys, I think there's an assumption that you guys are let in on them right away. And I'm like, no, the board hasn't even seen these
Yeah.
yet, right? So again, how do we bridge it and work together to fix some of these things? So, true, very true. Workloads are divided fairly among people where I work. Again, not probably, an area that, we're gonna be looking at. So favorable 36, neutral 24, unfavorable 40. And that was down a little bit from the year before. Again, wasn't real high the last time they took the survey. Generally, I believe my workload is reasonable for my role. So again, favorable 57%, neutral 24%, unfavorable 19%. It's down -6 from the year before. And again, we talked about this as a staff, keep in mind that the last few years, Bristol has had new initiatives, right? You've had a new math curriculum at both the primary and the upper grade level. You've had new reading curriculum. There's been standards. All these things are important to move the district forward, and there's been mandated Act 20 training. So there is no doubt that people feel that. You can't not feel that. So as a leadership team and as grade level teams, looking at what is reasonable, what can we expect from people, where they still feel like they can do their job at a high level capacity and enjoy their job, while still making sure we're meeting expectations. So. And then this one, I think speaks volumes. I believe action will take place as a result of this survey, right? Clearly people at the time, didn't think that anything was gonna happen, right? So, and that's where the first step really was just sharing the survey with them and sharing it with you and being transparent that we are going to take action and we are working on action.
And how long does it take to do a survey and get the results compiled? I'm just curious, 'cause
I can't imagine that, it's electronic, so.
It's electronic, we had a window, so all staff, we gave them time during a professional learning day, and then if they weren't at the professional learning day, there was another 2 weeks after that to gather everybody's responses, but pretty much because it's digital,
It's fast.
it's pretty quick, yeah.
I'm just curious to see with all the changes and new stability and different communication structure, and we were in flux for a long time. So I'm curious to see if this is already greatly improved.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree, Joanne, and I think we prefaced it when we met as a staff, and right, last year was a difficult year. We can all be transparent about that. And now, how do we move forward? And again, I think we continue to ask these same questions so that we can benchmark where are we now?
Just real quick, Dr. Schmidt, what was the participation rate overall? Was it 100%, 98%?
It says on there.
Had it up in the
84.
corner.
I know, I didn't catch it. I'm sorry.
84 out of
84,
111.
okay, I just didn't catch it.
Yeah, so it's pretty high.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah,
bad.
not
That's
bad.
pretty good.
No, I couldn't find the survey results.
It's in the district administrator.
Go to.
So again, action plan moving forward. We have a climate committee comprised of support staff,
Is that
teachers.
Yeah, it's in there.
We have a climate committee comprised of support staff, teachers, and administration to address the following items identified on the 24-25 staff survey. And I got feedback from people on the climate committee, sort of what do you believe we need to tackle? And again, right, our big goal is to build trust between administration and teachers, the board and staff amongst other staff members, parents, and all of us. So developing a communication plan and sharing it with all stakeholders is one thing on our action plan that we want to start with. Reviewing job descriptions, expectations, roles, and responsibilities. Again, we have a policy that when new staff start, they're supposed to sign off on their job description. But we need to update some job descriptions and make sure, when we're hiring people, yeah, this is what I signed up for. I can do this, right? Not, oh, by the way, we're going to throw 15 other things at you. Professionalism, adhering to our collective commitments. You've heard me talk about those. And that is coming from a lot of the people on our climate committee, just saying we really need to up our game on our professionalism across the building. And then resurvey the staff in that window, February, March, and beginning discussions with you and the community about revisiting the Bristol Schools District Strategic Plan, because it's sunsetting, and a lot of these items fall under the strategic plan. And really, where do we want to take Bristol? There's so many good things here, and now where do we want to take Bristol moving forward? So that's where we're at with that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I
This
never-
has never been done before, so.
Yeah, thank you. At the risk of, I don't want to speak for the collective, but I'll just say, I'm sure we really appreciate those serving on the climate committee because they give of their time and they're taking a risk in doing that. And we thank them for dedicating that time with you because that's above and beyond.
I agree.
So thank you
I
for those
agree.
people,
And we
whoever you
appreciate-
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, moving on to number 7, RTI specialist presentation. Which I think I shared that. Dr. Schmidt is putting it up. So I was,
I'm gonna roll up here.
First off, thank you for having us this evening. Just wanted to introduce our team. So you've met some of us before, but just a review, we have a new team member as well. So Janet Bohm is our math specialist. I am Kathleen Dobich, I'm the reading specialist. Lisa Littell, she's our new K-8 intervention teacher. Then we have 2 amazing EAs that we want to give a shout out to. Gretchen Marquardt, who has been with us for the past 5 years. And we have a new one, Rachel Torres, and she comes with us with 13 years of experience from another district. So, excellent. So, we're going to talk a little bit about the purpose of RTI and just give you some details and talk about how some new things that are going on this year and just kind of update you from what we talked last spring. So the goal of RTI is very, very simple, helping every learner grow and achieve to their personal maximum capacity. And then to provide the right instruction at the right time based on what that student is showing that they have a need in. Do they have a need for acceleration? Do they have a need for support? What are they showing and how can we give that to them so that they can perform at their maximum capacity? This year, our RTI system is stronger than ever. We are continuing to support those students who need that extra help, and we're also making sure that we meet the needs of our students who need that extra challenge or that extension. So it's really important. We're definitely extending that and also supporting our classroom teachers so that they can also do that within the classroom. We do have pull-out opportunities for those students who need that extra challenge, and then again continuing to support our teachers with continuing learning new resources so that they can also help. So we as a team are working to do that, but also classroom teachers, and we're helping classroom teachers hopefully do that more easily by working smarter and not harder. I am going to hand over the next few slides. I've had the honor of chatting with you before, so I'm going to hand it over to my talented team members to kind of take the lead on the rest of this.
Okay, so you're gonna have to put up with me for the next couple of slides. So the first slide is just what is MLSS, and you're gonna hear some terms used interchangeably. We'll be using RTI and MLSS. They're both basically the same thing, but it's RTI is what our families and our staff is used to. We've been called the RTI team forever. But really the DPI, Wisconsin DPI has relabeled it the multi-layer system of support. And RTI kind of focuses in on that instructional level and that academic support. MLSS has all kinds of different layers. If you ever want to go on DPI and check out the visual, it keeps growing every year where there's lots of different layers. But this is just focusing in on the instructional layers. So if you look at that first layer, that outer layer, that's the universal instruction. That's really talking about our classroom instruction, where the needs of all students are met. As we zone in on that layer 3, layer 2 is a more targeted support for kids who show needs that may not necessarily be being met in that first layer. So we can talk at both ends about kids who need a little extra boost and a little extra enrichment and stretch. Layer 3 is that really intensive support where we need to add that third layer, and that's where we're looking at really focusing on putting kids in that tier 3 and providing that extra layer of support and very targeted interventions and reading in there. This next slide. So what does that look like for our team? By the way, as we're going through our MLSS, since we're into acronyms, is SICK, so you may hear some sniffles and sneezes and coughs as we go, so we apologize. So how do we support at every layer? So actually, just starting, I want to start with that most intensive layer. So that most intensive layer, layer 3, we're talking about that really targeted intervention for tier 3 for kids who are not successful at layer 1 or struggling, their needs are not being met in layer 1 and layer 2, so they need that third layer. That's where we do that really targeted instruction based on screening, and then from that screening process we do diagnostics and really narrow it down to what exactly our kids need and provide that targeted instruction. Once that we go through a cycle of 6 to 8 to 10 weeks, we kind of reevaluate whether they're making progress and then what our next steps would be. The second layer is a lot of that is done in the classroom, and we support that second layer in a lot of different ways. Sometimes we can be pushing into the classrooms and working with teachers in small groups. We're helping with assessment and planning. So we look at, here's our assessment data, we're grouping students by what they need, and then we're providing supports, whether it's resources or a body to help. Our RTI aides help a lot with that, providing those tier 2 instruction to kind of give that second layer. And then how do we help in that first layer? We are able to get in and work with teachers, again, looking at that data. In math especially, we're looking at a lot of pre-test, post-test data and figuring out how that affects our core instruction, how it can help drive that instruction. But helping teachers with instructional practices, helping them with coaching, modeling. Maybe we'll push in and take a class where another teacher can go and observe another teacher. There's just a lot of flexibility in how we support, but we are supporting it at every layer. And the exciting thing is as we are growing, our students are growing and our scores are getting stronger, that layer 3 intensive support, those needs are becoming less and less, which is really exciting because it frees us up to really zero in on layer 2 and layer 1, which is more impactful for all of our learners.
My turn. And I have a really sick voice.
Oh.
So part of our role is also to facilitate professional learning within the building. So that's our team goal, to work with the teachers. Some of the examples that we have done in this time is literacy professional development to support all of the Act 20 initiatives. Our teachers have been working really hard where they've been taking online classes, and then we have continued education on those classes with Cox training for our K3 mandate, but also our grade 4 and 5 teachers are also taking those classes as well. We had the opportunity to meet with the majority of all of the teachers this summer, and we actually looked at all of the spring data with our 4K through 8 teachers so that they had an idea of how students were coming into them to kind of gear their year up to see, where were the needs for their students, how many enrichment students would they be having, so it kind of gave them a good pulse of where their incoming students would be. And then in that same time, we worked with them on the Atlas training, which is where we are kind of embedding all of our curriculum with Carrie, heading that up, so giving them some guidance on what those different components look like in the system. And then offer teachers targeted resources to enhance enrichment opportunities and support learners. So there's times that teachers will come to us and they just need resources. And they're, coming out of the classroom, I know they're buried in the classroom and they want to meet all of the needs of their students. And so they come to us and they ask, hey, do you have anything on enrichment for this student? Or I'm struggling here with this student. And our goal is to support them in that capacity as well. And then just the day-to-day, the PLC days, the early release days, we're supporting professional development for those teachers on those days as well. So, me being new, what is the impact of having me, a new position here? Because that's the goal. What's the impact? So, a couple of things. It provides the ability to provide more targeted, individualized support. The connection of meeting all Act 20 requirements. There's a lot of stringent components with Act 20. With MLSS, we're also the last stop before we go up for potential students who have an SLD for referrals. So we need to make sure that those intensive supports are there for those students and that small groups. Ratios are 1 to 3. And with 2 of us now, we're able to really hone in and have smaller groups and support students so that we can meet those requirements more effectively.
Prevent identifications in special education,
Yes.
which costs us a lot of money.
Yes. So there's 2 of us working on that and collaborating with one another. If I see things too, it's always good to have another eye on things. So when we're looking at diagnostics and reporting, Kathleen and I are able to exchange ideas of what we think is going on. So that's something that I think has been added. And then the biggest thing is servicing 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Supporting teachers, and it looks different. Like we look at the data, the benchmarks and the screeners for all students. So how I support 6th grade looks very different in 8th grade. Meeting with those teachers and with those kids is different. But yeah, it's one of the cool things too is we have our district screeners for like MAPS and AIMS, and all of us in math and in literacy, any student that pinged under the 30th percentile received additional diagnostics so that we were able to communicate, maybe they're not going to be a pull-out student for us to service, but we're able to give teachers more ideas of how they can better support students in that tier 1 or that layer 1, if that makes sense. And then new digital systems. Kathleen did a really great job with being that one-man band last year of organizing everything. So we're working together on streamlining and making things more digital so that it can kind of advance and carry over from all of our scores that we have for students from fall to winter to spring and carry over to the next school year where it's more digital. And then 4K, sometimes they feel lost. And so we got to meet with 4K too, and we created like a system for them so that they can also have more digital documentation for their students to kind of hand off to our 5K teachers too. So it's been great. It's been great to be a part of the team, and it's been a pleasure to work with Janet and Kathleen and coming up of like how to best effectively use me. And the teachers have been just really wonderful too for that support and allowing me to give suggestions or listen to them sometimes too, right? So that's it.
So just a quick update on Act 20, where we are now. We have, as I shared in the spring, but even more so now with our new fall data, we've definitely had a significant decrease in the number of personal reading plans required, by our students. So, and we've, generally speaking, we've had about a 50% drop from what we had last fall to now, and that's following. So like first graders in the fall of last year comparing to first grader or second graders now in the fall. So following those cohorts. So that's really been great. That being said, Now we can really focus on those students who might be a little more difficult to move, right? Those were kind of, our kids that were probably a little bit easier. We saw tremendous growth, but, it might be a student who is scoring at like the 23rd percentile. That's not as hard to get them above. But dealing with someone who might be scoring at that 13th percentile, they're going to be a little harder to move. And so that's where it's going to be really great to have this, additional person to really make those groups small and more targeted. We've had a really great staff response. They're excited, as I mentioned last year, about the all hands on deck approach, the more focus on the science of reading in their universal instruction, and the results that we're seeing as a whole, just casual conversations. I've asked all grade levels, how are you feeling? Are you feeling like the students that are coming in are a little better prepared than the year before? And generally speaking, yes. They are feeling like, yep, they're better prepared. There's more continuity. They're not necessarily noticing like, this classroom got more of this or this classroom got more of that. It's just generally the kids are better prepared. We still have work to do, but it's really, we're really happy with the results, given that it's only really been 1 year of really super intensive science of reading and this new approach. I did want to mention to you there are updated normative cut scores for both AIMSweb and MAPS. In AIMSweb, we're noticing about approximately a 10 percentile point difference. So students that maybe were scoring at the 15th last year or maybe are scoring at the 25th, because that's, they changed the norms. That being said, we are keeping our standards high at Bristol. So, as Lisa mentioned, all kids that scored at the 30th and below received diagnostics. So we're not simply saying, oh, you're above the 25th, we don't have to worry about it, even though the norms have changed. No, we are keeping this in mind as we are moving forward, because we definitely want to keep our standards high and keep all kids moving, and we just simply don't want to say, oh, we're not, we don't think you need support anymore. So we are definitely continuing to work on that and deciding who those kids need. Push in support, pull out support, what do exactly they need. And then we are also keeping an eye on all students from the 30th to the 50th on watch. So, and then when I mentioned that 50% reduction, that I actually based that on last year was at the 20 or below the 25th. This year I based it on below the 35th. So to try and compare more of those apples to apples. And so we're still seeing those really good results.
Is that Adeline to whoop and holler?
Yeah,
That's really great.
Yeah.
Great job.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, it's definitely a huge team effort. Every single teacher, all of us, and it's been good.
Good.
So
Good
just a
results.
quick update on math. First of all, last year was quite a year. We had 2 new curricula that were first year implementation. So just that was a big support for, we needed support for the teachers. They did a phenomenal job embracing the new curriculum and really rocking it. When we see the data, it was pretty impressive, especially at a middle school level. And it was a huge shift in curriculum. I know I was presenting before the board and sharing when we were, looking to adopt Amplified Desmos, and it's been amazing. So kudos to our teachers. But looking at, where we're at, again, even despite the new norms, we still are watching those kiddos that are scoring below the 30th percentile, doing the diagnostics with the AIMSweb, and really keeping a close eye. If anyone on the diagnostics with math pinged below the 10th percentile, we're doing intensive interventions and watching the data and keeping a close eye on those kiddos that are below the 30th and even below the 40th. So with that, the reduction in the tier 3 needs, that creates a lot of flexibility for my role during math win time. So I'm shifting from more just that targeted pull-out tier 3 support I'm allowed to do more collaborating with teachers, looking at, especially which is so exciting this year, 2nd through 4th grade with the Bridges curriculum, we're doing that pre-test, post-test data. So really using that pre-test data to look at, see where are kids falling, where are they at, and then helping support kids at all levels. So when we have a student take a pre-test and they score a 39, 40, 41 out of 41 points, we can see they're quite well, they're showing proficiency in that whole unit. So we have that flexibility now to help meet the needs on the higher end of enriching and accelerating the learning of those kids throughout that unit. And so my goal is unit by unit to be really looking closely at that pretest data and seeing how the flexibility I have now can support each grade level. And again, every unit, every grade level can look different. With our our younger grades, early intervention is key, so a little more flexibility with those kindergartners when we've got some needs there. It's like, so I've got a pretty good group there that I'm working with pretty intensely. Hopefully by, maybe first trimester, we'll get them that little boost that they need, and we can look at supporting more in the high end in kindergarten as well, in the second half of the year. So that flexibility is huge. It also helps me get into the classroom and provide support for teachers. I really enjoy getting in and working on fact fluency strategies and giving teachers, doing some model lessons and showing the different strategies, getting kids engaged in collaborative work and with problem solving. The fact fluency programs, making sure our kids are proficient in addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, that's huge. They need that foundation just like we need the letters and sounds. We need those foundational facts for our kids to excel in math. So ensuring that, looking at that data and partnering with teachers there and coaching cycles around fact fluency. Enrichment, it's my passion. As I see the needs growing here at Bristol, I did get my gifted and talented add-on certificate, so I'm building my knowledge on how to support our high achievers. I think that's a really emerging need that is super exciting for Bristol, and I want to be there to help support that in math. And then, with the impact of this, we're really looking at a more balanced system supporting all of our learners at all levels, and stronger math foundations with the fact fluency and engagement in problem solving and collaborative work with the students in the classrooms and supporting teachers in that.
Just want to give a few shout outs to the people that really help make this team really complete. So first we want to say thank you to our amazing educational assistants. They are just absolutely imperative to everything we do. I mean, they are amazing. So we just want to give it a big shout out to Gretchen and Rachel. We want to thank our teachers. They have worked tirelessly, and they have worked on completing benchmarking in the time that it's needed to be done, and for collaborating with us on how to best serve all students during win time, and that all hands approach. It's more work, but it's clearly best for kids and learning. So we just really want to give a shout out there, and for dedicating everything, their time, their effort, their resources to our students here at Bristol. Thank you to our principals for supporting us and our collaboration efforts with classroom teachers. And we really want to thank you, the board members, for supporting us in so many ways. Your support allows us to help meet students where they are and allow for intervention and enrichment and giving us, time and more resources in order to do an even better job. So just truly thank you from the bottom of our hearts for everything, your support and everything that you've done and allowed for us to do. And I think it's really made a huge impact for on our students, but without your support, we couldn't do it. So really thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
Yes.
Thanks for coming tonight.
And I hope you feel
Really a
better.
pleasure.
Does anybody have any questions before the ladies?
Yes.
I just have a quick comment. Talking to teachers at Central, they said they can tell the difference between a Bristol kid
Oh, yeah.
and other feeder schools.
Yeah, they can.
And they, like, we can pick out, just from just a quick communication, talk with them, they can pick out where that kid came from. And they commend the Bristol staff for what they do. So, yeah, so, good job, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again for having us, we appreciate it.
Hope you feel better, Lisa.
Yeah, it's
All
the
three
whole-
of you?
The whole team, yeah. She's just,
Probably my
I
fault.
just.
I was sick the week.
It's all her fault.
We can fight the team.
The trickle effect.
Sharing a little too much.
Thanks again,
Thank you.
ladies.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Well done, well done.
Thank you.
All right, number 8, public comments. Do we have anybody? No, all right. Moving on to number 9, discussion items, Healthiest You reports.
Okay, so Jorge, do you want to kick this off?
Yeah, we can certainly do that. So we have a report that was shared to the board on the telehealth utilization report. And we're looking at the periods of September 2024 to August 2025. As you can see, this telehealth captures that snapshot, that window. You'll notice that there's a total of 87 medical encounters, 15 mental health encounters, 10 dermatology, and 0 nutrition. So those are the total encounters. So the aim of this telehealth program is really to support staff and deter costs that could end up being as emergency visits, right? So when our employees, right, emergencies happen, but when they go to a emergency room, right, there's a high cost associated with that. And a lot of the needs that get addressed in this report really help offset some of those costs. If you're looking at the utilization of it, the average savings per visit is $517 per visit, right? So if you were to calculate that out, for example, with the medical component, you'd see that adds up to $44,979. So it is a program that staff are using. Staff that are eligible do not have to be currently on our insurance plan. So it's available to staff members that are not participants of that. The other telehealth services on here, when you look at their distribution, it has by gender, it has by age, so it goes into those type of metrics. Telehealth services also offer prescriptions, right? So someone can call if they need a prescription, they can access a prescription through telehealth services. Mental health, which is another component that's really important because not all telehealth modules offer mental health, right? And so there is a mental health component. The utilization rate on that is 13.5%. So we know that of all our staff that participate in Healthiest You, 13.5% have used that for behavioral health, if you will. Cost savings of that, as it's distributed here, is $2,925. When you look at nutrition, dermatology, excuse me, we're on page, if you're trying to follow along this long report of like 21 pages, we are on page 16, right? And so you're looking at the distribution on the dermatology. So the utilization rate there is 9%, and you're able to see the visits there. So a cost savings of $2,010. And then on the nutrition, I didn't see any activity during this year on that in particular. But that goes through, just some of the numbers there, right? So that's the numeric, but then also just from the feedback that we're hearing from staff, we hear that a lot of staff appreciate, this option, and that it get used quite a bit. Michelle, I don't know if you have anything to add on that note.
Yes. So as Jorge and I have delved into this, I know there's a lot of questions, and we had a lot of questions. Is this part of our current health insurance plan? Is this something separate? This is something separate. We talked with our insurance representative, and what we are hoping to have for you on Monday is to show you our current insurance plan does have a telehealth option, but it is not exactly this. So they are looking at how much do we pay for that option, right? What are the benefits of this option versus that option? Because we don't want to duplicate services, right? Under our health insurance plan, though, you have to be a member of our health insurance plan to access that, and this is really a
That's for
benefit for all
everyone.
employees, right? Even our part-time employees that maybe
that's
can't
nice. It's
access
everyone.
insurance. So again, looking at it from a different lens, it's my understanding that even if your spouse, if your dependents or spouses aren't on our insurance, they can access this. So again, just looking at it from another
And
benefit
the cost
standpoint.
of this is like $1,500 a month.
That's about right, Joanne. And we will be sharing
Yeah.
that a little more in depth with you.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
that sounds about right. Is it $11? Was it $11 per person that uses it?
Per person, yes. And
So.
Whether
just-
they use it or not.
So in July, it comes out to about $13.68 a month. In October, it was a little bit lower. But yes, we will share kind of
Okay.
the total cost with you on Monday.
Oh, it depends on how much it's used is what we get charged?
It sort of appears that way because it's essentially everywhere from $13.74 a month. Then there's some months where it's only $1,080. It's in that, $1,000 to $1,400 range monthly. There was one month where it was $1,560. It was December, so maybe there were a
One
lot
it
of
looked
colds
like
or things like
December
that.
medical was,
Yeah.
2 questions I'll have for Monday's discussion would just be, does the telehealth that's with our traditional medical insurance, does it include behavioral?
It
So-
does not.
Okay, so this one does include behavioral, the other doesn't?
I believe, right, Jorge, is that what we learned today? Our traditional does not.
that's what we
correct?
learned, that the
Yeah.
teledoc model that we have through our insurance company.
And this one's open
only
to
is medical.
everything. And then I don't know when they look at renewals and they look at our usage, because this is standalone, the question I would have is it a benefit because these claims or these calls are separate from our health insurance? So that's, I'm sure we'll talk about that more
Yes,
on
and
Monday.
we did ask that question, and what they are trying to find that out too. Like, if this is something that helps our overall claim rate,
Right.
for lack of a better word, I'm not an insurance person, right? And staff are utilizing it, how does that help us on the other end, right? Like, if we would take a teledoc off the other package, what does that give us? Does it help our increase? That type of
Yeah.
thing. So those are things that they're hoping to have for us on Monday.
Great.
Yeah, and just some clarification on the numbers. So the current plan is at $12 per person, per employee. They are looking to have an increase in January of 2026, and then that's looking to go to $13.20
Okay.
That's just per employee?
per employee.
Per
Or
month.
per user,
per-
is it per user?
so every time they call, they get
Different.
charged $13?
No,
Or,
we get charged by the employee.
That's what
correct?
We
we
get charged by
pay
the
for
employee.
usage.
Mhm.
And there are also some utilization caps, so we could probably go more in depth on Monday on
Okay.
on that
That
information.
sounds good.
Mhm.
All
Yes,
right.
we're learning about this too. So we did get some information right before the board meeting, so we can go a little more in depth on Monday.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah.
thank you on that information. Moving on to 9B, the virtual speech service contract.
Okay, and I do have Taya here with us, so I know I tried to give you as much background information as I could. It was sort of a dissertation, so I do apologize, but I just wanted, it's a little convoluted. But essentially, I think we all agree, our goal is to hopefully eventually get us off of needing contracted services. We want our own employees. And it's been a struggle in speech. So as I shared, without going through the whole dissertation, right now we're at a point where we need to be servicing our private school students at Open Wings. That is still out there. We have a contracted speech therapist who is right now overseeing the SLPA that you approved, but she's also overseeing all of the evaluations. We had a contracted speech therapist that left September 5th, and that's why we got the SLPA. And our current contracted speech therapist that is still here is finding the workload, basically, it's not sustainable. And really, it's not. I mean, it's almost 50 students, and that is pretty unsustainable for a full-time speech therapist. So looking to relieve that person and get them back to their original caseload. And then, so the virtual speech therapist would be overseeing the SLPA, picking up those other students that the current contracted speech therapist is overseeing all that paperwork, and then servicing students at Open Wings. So that's what we're asking for. And we're looking at 10 to 12 hours a week? Yes.
I have a couple of questions. When you say 50 students, is that combined between here and Open Wings?
No.
That's just at Open Wings?
That's just here.
Oh, just here, okay.
Mhm.
And then do we have constant, we're hiring ads going? Yeah?
Kind of, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the next.
That's
one.
the next one.
Okay, oh, did I get ahead? Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay.
Yes, so essentially, your answer is yes, Joanne.
So this, really do not like the idea of virtual speech therapy for special ed kids. I do not have a problem with a contract, though, that we have an out for and we are not going to be financially penalized,
Right.
like the one that we voted down.
That's a great question because what we're doing is not just virtual, we have SLPA in person, and she will be working directly with the students under the supervision of the SLPA who's joining in virtually.
So we have 2 SLPAs working with one child?
Just one SLPA that we have, the assistant,
Yeah,
but
Oh, got
and
it.
she was being overseen by the contracted SLP that we had before part-time. So she
Okay.
took on this SLPA and the evaluations and all that stuff, and she realized quickly that it was just too much to handle. So now we're giving that supervision to the virtual SLP just to oversee and take that workload away from the contracted SLP that we've had in the district.
So the SLPA can provide the services
In person.
in person.
Right.
This would be just paperwork. They'd be
Supervision.
doing the paperwork
Yes.
part of it.
Yes.
And IEP meetings and all of those.
And this would cure anything that we need with to service for Open Wings.
Yes. So it would serve 2 purposes. So supervising the SLPA here in the meantime, and having that SLPA physically go to Open Wings and service those students as well. And in both locations, she would be working under the supervision of the virtual SLPA. So that our contracted person can go back to working the same caseload as what we contracted her for originally. She's just overwhelmed now.
How many
Okay.
kids do we have at Open Wings that need speech?
I'm sorry.
How many kids at Open Wings do need
It-
speech?
It will all
Do we know?
depend on what we as the LEA determine in collaboration with Open Wings. So we could say that based on the funding that we have, we are able to allocate the services to students between kindergarten and 3rd grade, let's say. And then those students will have a service plan. So somebody has to write those service plans too. So that's kind of like the additional work that goes into writing, kind of like IEPs, but it's just called service plans for those students.
And that's included in the pass-through money from the
That's
funds that we
included
get to
in the
provide?
set-aside funds
Okay.
that we have to allocate to those services, yes.
Okay, but all of those services are included in those funds?
Correct, so
Okay.
it's nothing like additional that we would be spending, it's just that we would be using those set-aside money
Sure.
to finance this, Open Wings, that SLPA going over to Open Wings and getting supervision too.
Okay.
So we already have that money set aside.
And hopefully we get more SLPs. I can't believe there's such a shortage. I mean, I believe it, but
Yes,
it's
there is a
interesting.
shortage of people who want to work on site. A lot of people want to work virtually, and we receive a lot of offers from different companies and individual SLPs
Yeah,
when they see the posting online.
yeah,
But we strongly feel that no, we would like somebody in person. We don't want to do
yeah. Huh. Okay. Do we need
Great.
to,
Sorry, what did you say?
go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement for virtual speech therapy, Speech Connect Wisconsin, seeking a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
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 Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. Now moving on to 9C, which is the part-time speech therapist.
Oh, this is different.
So this is different.
Okay.
So, going back to our goal of having a speech therapist, and not a contracted speech therapist, but an actual speech therapist that's our employee. That's our ultimate goal, is that we're not bringing these contracts back to
Right.
you, right? And that they're our employees. So, essentially, this is a position, this is a new position, right? Taya, help me out here. This is a position that has remained open since last fall, that has been on weekend, and we have not, until most recently, had anybody interested in it.
Yep. Yeah,
Well,
and
was there
one
somebody
for-
interested?
Correct, yes. There
But
was
then they
somebody that
didn't.
was interested, but it didn't
Hannah.
materialize into anything. Unfortunately, towards the end, it did not go through. So then we had to repost the position and continue the search, and somebody else has shown interest in that
Now
position
somebody else has
recently.
shown interest in that position. So essentially bringing this to you, because I want to make sure that you're aware that we had a position out there, it's open, it's really not a new position. And now we have interest in it, and I think our goal down the road would be that we can eliminate the need for some of these contracted services by bringing an actual person in, correct?
Yes.
So really, I think the vote would be just to approve the position. And because we haven't made an offer to a person, you know what I mean? Just that you're aware of the position. I mean, it was already there, it was budgeted for, but I want to be transparent, you know what I mean? So you're not like, well, what?
So you just got a candidate.
We're reaffirming
We're
the open
reaffirming the
position
open position.
that we approved months ago.
Yeah, or
Which
whatever.
I think is good to again touch base and,
Mhm.
sounds
Because
good.
it can be convoluted.
I'm sorry, my brain is just not sorting this right. How many SLP individuals do we need? We have the virtual, and then do we have a full-time and a part-time open, or how many people do we have or need?
Well, we started out the school year with 2 part-time contracted.
Yeah, okay,
So then, the one that remains is overseeing the SLPA that replaced the second one that left the company, that organization.
okay,
And the first one took over the SLPA's supervision, and she quickly found out that this is too much.
okay,
So what we're thinking is that the SLPA would shift over to open wings. We would use the set aside funds, and that virtual person will oversee all the IEPs that need to be done at this school as well. Because if this in-person SLP gets approved and goes through, then we would have that part-time in-person SLP for the district. And then that would save the district money because it's more cost effective to have somebody in person. And that SLPA would continue working at open wings.
got it, okay,
So we
thank
would
you.
So it wouldn't really look any different. Like here, we would still have 2 part-time SLPs.
Okay, okay, thank you. I think the in-person is
More effective.
much better.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it wasn't a specialized service, it's just hard for
All
kids at
communication's
every
better.
level to learn via Zoom. Or,
Mm-hmm.
so, thank you for pushing for that.
And just the collaboration piece with staff too, right? Like building those relationships in person.
Right.
So would the appropriate motion to be an approval to continue the weekend posting for a part-time speech therapist?
I don't think we're supposed to. I don't think that's a board voting thing for positions that are already open. I mean,
Is this more
already there.
informational, maybe?
It sounded like you had somebody.
Well,
We have somebody that's interested.
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh-huh.
so they need to apply.
So, and I know this is listed as discussion items, potential action, right? So I guess I am kind of looking to your guidance on this one, right? I want to make
Yeah.
sure you're aware. I didn't want to just, you're like, wait a minute, how did they
Right.
end up with another speech
Okay.
therapist? Where'd she come from, right?
so we may
Yeah.
have we
Good.
may have someone to approve in the future
Yes.
at the next
I
meeting.
got it.
Okay.
Okay.
If you're good.
We
I think you
appreciate
have the
that.
board's support on it. I just don't know that the board is supposed to vote on it.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it just sounds more informational.
Yeah.
Like a,
Sounds good.
Okay.
Potential.
And then, I know WeCan is the traditional place to advertise, and I'm not saying don't use them, but some other advertising places might actually pan out. We're only 4 miles from Illinois. There could be, kids graduating from an SLP program, I shouldn't call them kids, young adults, that would be more than interested if they knew, but they wouldn't necessarily even know to look at WeCan.
Sure, sure.
And I don't know what companies that is, and maybe that's just something I think and not reality, but if we're not getting a lot of action, maybe we have to expand.
Luckily, we're at a good place right now.
Yeah.
Because this person who showed interest, we met with her and seemed to really like her and be impressed by her
Oh,
skills
good.
and what she would be bringing to the district. So the goal is that this person will go from part-time to full-time.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And that's also like a win-win situation for that person too. That's exactly what that person is looking for
Yeah.
as well.
Oh, good. Perfect. Thank you.
And I do know, Joanne, to your point, not to belabor this, but Tay and I have talked, and again, looking at what universities are kind of, graduating out new SLPs. So Whitewater is one, UW Milwaukee, and just making sure that we're staying connected with them.
Yeah.
Yes,
Good.
thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to 9D, full-time custodian recommendation.
Okay, so I believe I gave you some background information on that one. So Lou met with Jorge and went over the budget. And when Jorge and I started looking into this more, there is a formula that associations
square foot.
use to determine, based on the square footage of a building and how many custodians and what level of cleaning are they doing. This is how many custodians you should have, what they can clean in 8 hours, what they can clean in 4. And in doing that, we basically determined that his full-time request is something that we support. When the district added on, there's a lot more space here to clean, and more bathrooms and different things. And also looking at, there were a barrage of part-time people, there were different substitutes. So just trying to make something more consistent and something that can bridge a gap between kind of starting in the afternoon, so supporting people in the afternoon, but then continuing to support the people that are here at night, especially as we have more activities coming on at night. It's that season. So our recommendation is to support the hiring of another full-time custodian.
My understanding is there was already a part-time position out there that you're converting to a full-time.
Right, a portion of that is going towards this salary. Jorge, is there anything else I missed on that?
No, I think you covered everything, and with that space, right, in that calculation with the square footage, and just another thing to keep in mind is the density of like within that space, right? If, with referendum and that, you know, the more space or touch points that get added, right, it's an additional, even though the square footage stays the same, but like the touch points do increase for staff. So just looking at those figures, right, you know, it seems very reasonable to add on this position. And as Michelle has mentioned, it alleviates both the daytime folks and the evening, because the position would be scheduled split between both those shifts to help support both teams.
Are there any things that aren't being done now that, where just backlog is more than manageable?
I think that there are times, I mean, again, the custodial crew is great, right?
Yeah.
You know, I think there are times when, you know, Lou might hear from people like, hey, it didn't look like anybody was in my room last night. You know, and they were. I mean, he can always tell if they were or they weren't. But, you know, again, quality time, time allotments. There have been, they've had to rely on substitutes for quite a while because they had somebody who was here for a while and retired. So then there was substitutes. So I think just making more consistency.
I appreciate the data on square footage, so it supports the need.
Well, and how does that actually coordinate with our budget? Because we also have a health insurance increase coming up. And
Yeah, that's definitely a fair question, right? So when you're looking at the custodial budget, we're looking at 3 major categories, right, of how that's made up, the staffing budget. One is part-time custodians. So this will bring a reduction to that. It's a solid team of where now we're looking at 4 part-time custodians, right? Last year, even though we had budgeted for that amount, we had a higher activity of within that amount because of, you know, folks that needed to, right? We have some folks that retired and that. So we're looking at a set amount now on our part-time custodial. There's a substitute custodial budget as well. So what we anticipate is with this change, the demand for sub-custodial will drop. So we expect to see less activity with that because we are covering our bases with our teams. And so the increase, you know, to the overall budget really is not, you know, a shocking sticker price because it's absorbed in those 3 categories.
so essentially, it's already built into the dollars, or no, to the budget? Just the dollars, not the head count, the overall custodial. If it was, and I'm just throwing numbers, if it was 100,000, does this make it 110? Or is this still within the 100?
No, it does increase by a bit. You're correct on that. The overall.
Yeah.
When we're looking at part-time custodial, sub-custodial, and full-time custodial. But the increase, right, like, you know, we figured that it's warranted based on the square footage, the need, the demand, and those factors.
I'm
yeah.
not arguing that, I'm just looking at the money, because as I recall, the budget that we were presented didn't have a whole lot of extra in it after our expenses. And when we look at a 10 to 15%, 12% increase in health insurance and, you know, probably some other things. That's what I'm getting at, is it big? I'm very concerned that the pot that was left after what we knew is shrinking.
Do you know the dollar amount for the impact for 25,
Yeah, so
26?
the impact on that is, last year, we were at 196 on that, and then this year, that would put us at 222. For
Okay, so about
budgeted,
25,
budgeted, yeah.
budgeted for about 25,000?
That's what it gets
Okay.
us, yep.
We're already budgeted for 225,
That's what we're looking at in 25, 26 is 222.
including adding this
The
person.
permanent, full-time, yes.
So I guess the question is, do we have to pull from somewhere else in the budget to cover this position?
No, within the facilities budget, this is absorbed, so we're not pulling anything from.
But that's
any
what I
other-
was getting at. If
Okay.
you already had the number,
Yeah.
the general total in the facility.
So we don't have to do a budget amendment, it's within the facilities?
Within the facility,
Okay.
so,
Okay.
yeah.
Margin
There's
of
no
error.
budget
Good.
amendment, yeah.
All right, cool.
But it's an important distinction to
Yeah.
make, so.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. We got there, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's good. We're like,
I don't
it's
think I
different
asked it
language.
for
Yeah.
clarity.
Yeah, it's different
Finance
language.
guys talk.
Any other
Translator.
questions for anyone?
I'll make a
And again, I don't think that's something, I mean, if you go back to
I think
the
it's just
policies,
informal.
that is board required.
Okay.
I mean, it,
Well, is it required to change something
To
from
add
part
an
to
additional
full?
position, it would be.
Well,
She's
Or
asking
change.
for an
throughout the
add
school,
to.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. To a whole new position.
yeah, this is an ad, this
It
is an
isn't,
additional.
it isn't ad, she said that.
Okay.
If it's like changing, no, but we're adding a whole new full-time position.
Okay.
No?
Which policy do you know what
I
policy
don't-
says that?
I don't know that off the top of
Okay.
my head, but I can look.
All right. We can vote, we can go ahead and vote on it. I just. for
We
some
should get
reason,
clarity on
I
that,
saw
too, because
in
we
the-
had one about
And
the
I'll get
Ds.
better at that too.
Yeah, we'll
I think
look
I-
that up.
I just would rather play it safe and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like playing it safe. I'll make a motion to approve the full-time custodian recommendation for 25-26.
I have a quick question. Is this eliminating the current
part.
ad for part-time then?
So it's my understanding, Jorge, that essentially last year we had 5 part-time custodians. Is that correct?
That is correct. We had
And
budgeted for
now
5.
we
yes.
we will have 4.
And then we will have a
Right, but I'm
regular.
saying, are you leaving that one open and advertising that we still have it, or are you eliminating that
No.
part-time one?
Yes.
Okay.
That's my understanding, right, Jorge? We are not advertising for any more part-time positions for custodians
No, there's 4 positions out there for part-time custodians.
that are full, and then this full-time one, but we do not have any other ads out there,
At
correct?
this point, no.
Yeah.
So we'll only have 1 full-time and 4 part-time?
No, we already have 2, we're adding another additional full-time. We have 2 full-time. We're adding an additional
So
full-time.
3 and
3
1
and
less
Three,
part-time.
yeah.
3 full-time, 1 less part-time, so 4.
Mhm.
Got it.
All right,
Good questions.
my head's around it.
So we have a motion, we have a second, correct? Or no second yet?
No second yet.
No, I had a question, that's fine.
All right,
I'll second.
I'll second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
The next one, 9E, is just for informational only, coming up for the elections and what's happening for there. We only have 1 spot that will be, that would pertain to. 9F, second readings of the 4 policies that we tabled 2 months ago, I believe it was, maybe a month ago. We tabled them, asked them to go to Shayna for review. Shayna gave the recommendations, which you guys all received. So we're classifying this as a second reading.
Did we,
I reviewed them just to comment, and the changes she made are basically wording, nothing substantial as far as underlying meaning or stuff. So I was happy with the changes and how she put it in.
in all of these? Because honestly, I read this and I was a little concerned. Personal use of social media and public platforms, where it used to say you can't publicly criticize or disparage the district, leadership, colleagues,
Which one is
students,
that?
families.
Which
This is the
number?
Yeah,
first
that
one
was marked
on
out, and I think it was going, if I remember reading correctly, it was going to 7544.
Oh, okay.
So that was moving to 7544, which is not on this list.
No,
And
it's not.
still at the committee level.
Okay. So what am I
That's why it was
looking
marked
at
out.
here? So we're gonna adopt this change, taking that all out, even though we don't have 7544 in.
Well, there is a 7544 policy out there.
Correct, but we didn't do a first reading on it yet,
Right.
so you can't throw it on as a second reading when you didn't do a first reading.
So we'll approve
There's
that
some
next
refinement
month.
to do.
I don't know if you understand where I mean, I don't know if that one's gonna be ready by the next meeting, but I hesitate to take out,
Well, then,
A big
it doesn't
chunk
have
of
to go to the committee,
responsibility.
it can be, well, it's already shared with all of us, so everyone can review it and we can put it on the next board meeting as first reading.
okay, yeah, but this is up for second reading.
Which one?
So
754004.
Yeah,
So-
it's a different policy.
So if 7544, which is the social media one, which I hear you, I think you're saying we're referencing something that's not yet approved yet. So I hear what you're.
Well, I'm starting
you're
with the first policy that's on our agenda
Yes.
that Tina said is a second reading.
Yes.
Yes.
So, but 7544, which will be social media, the committee's meeting, I believe, the first week of November. So it should be ready for us to do our second reading and approval in November. So I think it will timeline out. That's what I think. That's what I
That's what
understand.
I understand too. And if we don't do it to the committee, then it would just come back to the board next meeting.
As a first reading, because this 7544 is one that
So-
Sheena reviewed, but we never read it
We
first.
didn't ask her to do it.
It got,
So she
Yeah, it-
added it in or changed the wording into that policy.
Because she knew it was related and because it
I
was
was gonna
referenced
say
in this
referenced
one.
in
Right.
this,
Right.
So yes, so
It's
we
not-
would be.
nothing's being taken
We would
out.
potentially be
Yeah,
approving.
this whole thing is scratched out down here and not in that other policy.
Yeah, the
yet.
recommended
That's what I'm
language
saying.
was
Right, but
scratched out.
this language was Victor's
My- yeah,
language.
that was my recommendation. That was the language
all
that I
the stuff in
recommended.
red that's got lines through it at
Yeah.
the bottom?
And what had happened is that when Shayna reviewed it, she basically said
said
that
it's
this
in
should
this
go
policy.
into
Into
this
the other
policy, and
policy.
we should be referring the staff
Got
acceptable
it.
use to that
So
policy.
you made this all confusing.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
Just for clarity.
Yeah.
All right,
Yes.
thanks.
But you're right, and all these policies, and this is my mantra all
They
along, they
intertwine.
all got to be intertwined and looked at.
Well, and the impossible part to follow is, and it's sad that there is only one company that does this.
Amen.
Because we have approved policies more than 6 months ago that are not updated online for people to see. And I just don't know how you can legally expect adherence to a policy that nobody could access. Nobody would have a clue what we said 4 months ago because they're holding them for.
I understand that frustration.
I
As
do-
somebody who was
I do
a
too.
principal for many years trying to follow updated policies and they weren't there,
Yeah.
it is frustrating.
Yeah.
Why are they holding them?
Because
They wanna do it all
according
at
to
once.
Tim, they don't take the whole packet until it's completely done.
Oh, and these are the last 4 of that
Correct. So the other policies that we approved in that packet have not been uploaded and
Got it.
changed and done in the system.
So, in the past, prior to this past year,
It's been like
we
that
would
all the
always do the packet at a time. We wouldn't leave the evening and we would stay for the whole evening, do the packet, and then Tim would update it. So maybe that's,
The board was never involved until just
Oh.
recently
Correct.
on the policies. And Tim would go over the policies with administration
with Jack.
and change it and everything, and then it would be uploaded as soon as the board approved it.
right.
Yeah.
So hypothetically, if we approve these 4 tonight,
Then that
they
packet
will
will be
all
done.
And then we need to be aware that if we pull from a packet,
We need to do it all at once.
we do need to not delay on these. Now, I think it was wise to delay on these to make sure that we got
Right.
legal's advice and we really
Well, and I
process
think
this,
that's
but.
the whole process of actually looking at policies is
Right.
you need to cover yourself.
Right.
Throwing 29 policies in one meeting is ridiculous.
That's a lesson for us though, like we didn't know that
No.
they don't
And it was
update it
it's
unless
a
it's
learning process, right?
a whole packet.
Because the next packet is 29 policies. We would be here all night.
Some of those policies just might be a correction in like capitalization.
Oh.
That's
I'm
what
not,
wanna
I
hope,
haven't
but
seen
I'm
them,
just
I have
saying,
no idea,
yes.
but there could be, in the future, they could just be capitalization or instead of and, it could be they.
No, those are the ones she takes care of on her own.
I can do that.
I didn't know
And
those
are
were
all the
separate.
other policies that we've approved and changed in the last year updated except for this packet online?
I would hope they are.
'Cause
So I've gone
I-
back and double checked some of them, not every
Okay.
single one, but they have been.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to bring it back to 7540.04 for staff technology is just to make sure. So when I'm looking at the attachment, so if we vote to approve this, we're going to keep what's struck out in red. We're accepting the language in blue. And that's what is being proposed. Just wanted to make sure I'm tracking along.
And this
Okay.
was all written or previewed by our attorney?
Yes, because
Yes.
you remember back, we sent that
I do.
packet where it was like different colors where Tim had said, I could do, I can't do, you gotta put
Yeah,
in your
there's color coded
handbook,
in the
yeah.
September
or
This is
August
how
meeting.
she intertwined it.
Yeah. Okay.
I do think, Dr. Smith, you're going to have to be prepared to answer some questions about what acceptable use is. So you might want to get your arms around, hey, this is what we think acceptable use is, because they kind of defined it more broadly here. And it's hard with technology because things change so quickly, resources change, but just so you know that if you get a question, the policy is a little loose in its definition, which is fine because of the changes that happen
Right.
quickly, but
Right.
be ready.
Right, I think especially with, right, the integration of AI and more things as well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean,
Google just announced that everything's in Gemini now, and you don't have a choice to not have it. You can turn it off, but not to have it, yeah.
So I noticed too, like with the staff and the student technology one, it just keeps saying like the principals are responsible for ensuring that everyone's on the same page. So I had asked her in an email, but at some point to report back to the board. I just want to ensure that if you're staff or a student, you fully know the policy,
And
so that
right.
I would like to avoid any issues. I don't even want it to come up.
And that's what
So,
policies are
yes.
supposed to do.
I want everyone to know. So
Well, yeah.
let us know how it gets rolled out, whether it's
I
a
will.
PD day or something that it's mentioned that
Sure.
everyone's on the same page. That'd be
I
awesome.
hope you don't think I was saying you weren't following through.
No, because I think it's, I don't like the system myself. I think it's,
Yeah.
it,
I know you've worked really hard on it.
We're on a mission
I just-
to change it.
it's
It
hard.
just seems like, you know, I feel like a company that has competition works harder, right? There's only one place to go.
I'm comfortable with 7540.04 as presented, knowing that we have to do our social media policy with the committee coming up. Are there any other questions on that one? Are we feeling good about it?
Works for me. Any other questions on the other three?
No,
No.
I
Let's
I
just
pre-read
go
them,
Are we good with all
everything was.
four?
Great, I'll make a motion to approve the
Okay.
changes, 754004, 754003, 754008, and 2416 as presented.
I second that.
All right, all in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. Letter G is the policy committee member recommendation.
Yep, and Nicole and I chatted, so I'm recommending that the board approve the following policy committee composition for the 2025-26 school year. Board members, Nicole Starkey, and then we talked about a rotating board member, administrators, myself. Elizabeth Nielsen has also requested to join the committee. And then staff members, Derek Adams would be on for a full year. Derek is coming back from last year, has experience. Katie Hazy would be on the first 6 months and Lori Beard the second 6 months. So sent it out, asked for volunteers, and that's what I got back.
Did you know, I saw in the newspaper that KUSD actually advertises to the community asking them to participate.
I did
I don't
see
know
that.
if they got any response, but.
Yeah,
I
I did see that, I was a
KUSD
little,
person,
You what?
parent, and
It
they
was
said
like
that's the
this.
first time they've ever done that.
When you saw it?
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Both of you were talking at once. and
No.
I
I
can't
said
bifurcate anymore.
KUSD mom said that's the first time they've ever done that.
Oh, and there's a lot of committees they have.
Yeah.
Right, so I make a motion to approve the policy committee member recommendation as presented, seeking a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. Do we have any future agenda items for November that you guys would like to add?
So we know the
Other than
social
the
media
norms.
policy's gotta be.
Other than the norms.
policy.
The norms.
Yeah.
And then that's that whole packet is done.
The packet's fully done.
Okay,
That
good.
social media policy was
Perfect.
we didn't have to do, but Shayna put. So yes, we should probably get that updated with what we just approved.
Because we were all confused as to why it was there.
So
And we figured it out, right? This is 7544. First it was like, what's this one.
Well, then here's my question. Is it, since we all read it and kind of reviewed it, sounds like, is it safe to say that was the first reading and we can put it on the board meeting as second reading?
Don't know if it wasn't formally posted on the agenda.
Yeah, it
if
wasn't on the
was.
Oh, okay.
agenda.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
never mind.
The policy committee could,
But we'll add the policy committee update to the next agenda,
Yeah,
for sure.
that's fine. Okay.
Anything else you guys have?
I don't know if it would need to be a vote, but we talked about in our workshop when we met with Barbara, we were talking about how we evolve as a board, and he did some extra reading. It could be something perhaps in January, so it would be a November or December vote. But to do another workshop around continuing understanding like governance and policy, because we're making a lot of progress, but it'd be nice to solidify that perhaps. December is always a busy month for everyone personally, so maybe in January we'd get together and almost book club something
Yeah, I'm in the
around
third
policy.
chapter. I should be reading faster, but
Hey, you have until maybe January if we all agree, because then we can have just more
Football
discussions
needs to
about
go away.
workflow.
Yeah.
So
What
that would
was
be
the
maybe.
topic you were thinking?
So maybe it just would be setting a board workshop date in January, still to continue our governance conversation. So
yeah, the lady that helped, that was here to kind of give us that workshop was.
Barb.
Yeah,
That's-
Barb.
That's your mentor.
Yes.
Yes.
And she's
She's
willing
an
to come back
administrator,
and,
yeah.
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 Okay, anything else for November?
no.
Do we need to talk about any, or, no, I guess that'll go into another session with insurance and stuff like that, or is that all assumed in the next agenda?
We're gonna have our workshop on Monday.
Right,
And then we'll probably have to.
so
we
it'll
may have to-
automatically show up, we don't have to put it on,
Right.
Right.
okay.
This is just things that you guys want, not the normal
Not the
stuff that
normal.
goes on
Okay.
there.
Yeah,
Or the things that Michelle decides to go on.
Got it.
that's great. Thank you.
All right. Number 11, can I get a motion to move into closed session? Or I will make a motion to move into closed session.
I'll
So give me
second
a
it.
second.
Look at how your name just popped up on my, in a little green box.
Well, that's because you.
Because I'm in the Google form.
Oh.
I just clicked it.
There you are.
It's looking at you.
All right, Joanne seconded.
Roll call vote, Tina, aye, Joanne,
Aye.
Nicole,
Aye.
Danielle,
Aye.
Victor.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. The board will convene into closed session to discuss, take possible action if appropriate under Wisconsin statute 19.851C to consider employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, specifically to discuss administrator employment and performance. Can you say?
3.
Right. I will make a motion to move into open session, seeking a second.
I'll second.
All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. Time is now 6:42, and I'll make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. Can I
I'll
get a
second.
second? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, everybody.